Well, hey everyone. I just wanted to do a quick video in response to the comments I received after putting up the video on spiritual warfare. In that video, I pointed out our main battlegrounds aren't things like drugs and drunkenness, porn or adultery. Where we fight our most important fights is over the fundamentals of our Christian faith, right? Those things that keep us strong, such things as reading the Bible and prayer. Now, because prayer is so powerful, it is an area most of us struggle with. The devil is going to do whatever he can to take our prayer life away. Even the great Charles Spurgeon said his prayer life was the most frustrating thing about his Christianity. So how do we kickstart a prayer life that is almost non-existent? Do we get out a biography of some great prayer warrior and try to replicate what he or she does? Now, I wouldn't suggest that right now. I am a Christian biography freak, but one of the problems with many is they are nothing but chapter after chapter of a remarkable life, one highlight after another with no lowlights. And so here is a person who woke up every morning at 4 a.m. and prayed for hours. So I guess that's what I should do. You know what? What happens when you do that? You wake up when? Maybe 2-3 days before you give up. And so you start and you fail again, which creates a greater sense of hopelessness. And you think, maybe I'm just not the type who will ever have a real prayer life. It's probably some kind of spiritual gift anyway, and I just don't have it. Yeah, that's it. But listen, brothers and sisters, I want to give you hope. I want you to start by committing to something that you can do. And I've seen this work again and again. I suggest that you start by committing yourself to something you can do, just 10 minutes a day. Listen, we can all do 10 minutes, right? So what we want to do is we want to establish not so much how long we're praying, but how regular we pray. And so we want to establish a daily prayer life. That's the habit we're aiming for. Prayer that takes place no matter what we feel like. And we can do that if it's only 10 minutes. Now listen, just to admit, I have seasons I go through with prayer. Sometimes my prayer life is so exciting, I can't wait to pray. But listen, there are other times where I don't feel like praying at all. But if I can tell myself just 10 minutes, Bill, I will pray and I'll keep that habit rolling. Now, I've heard that it takes 30 days to create a habit. So that's encouraging here, isn't it? And I want to encourage you. I've seen this work again and again. Eventually, 10 minutes of prayer will turn into 20 minutes, then 30. As communication with God is established, it gets more exciting and more addictive. But for that to happen, you are going to have to get started. And like anything, it's going to take discipline to start. It's going to take a determination to pray regardless of what you feel like. But eventually that will turn into a delight where you do feel like praying. It's kind of like running telephone wire, I've heard it put. You have to dig the holes, then you have to set the poles. Next comes running the wire, and none of that is much fun, is it? But eventually that wire is connected and you're communicating with others. That's when it pays off, right? Well, in this case, you wake up one day, you start to pray, and you discover you're communicating with God. The connection has been made. The discipline of prayer at this point turns into the delight of prayer. This is when you'll begin to notice that 10 minutes is no longer enough. Your time with God will naturally begin to increase. Now listen, when I was a pastor in England, I taught this, and I had a girl come up to me and say, you know what, Pastor Bill, I need to confess something. My prayer life was such a mess, I couldn't even do 10 minutes. I started with 5, but I want you to know this, it's changing my life. So my advice to you is just get started. Don't beat yourself up with unnecessary guilt. You know what? Well, 10 minutes a day really isn't praying. If I love God, it would be at least an hour. You know what? 10 minutes is praying. You know the shortest prayer in the Bible? It's Nehemiah's arrow prayer. It took place in between sentences. It was a quick, Lord help, and that was prayer. So friends, just get started. Just create the habit on those days you feel like praying and on those days you don't. and I believe this will change your life. So let me challenge you to try this for a month, then come back in the comment section and tell me how it's going. Well, God bless you, brothers and sisters. I hope that helps. Hit those buttons down below. See you next video.